Don't laugh, Adam Chernoff. I'm operating this video on a 1998 Dell PC because my MacBook Pro is cracked. I have no idea what's going to happen here. I don't think I'm going to be taking the odd screen full. How's your week been so far?
Were you a LimeWire or a Napster guy?
LimeWire all day.
Do you remember? I was talking about this to someone yesterday. When you would get like 4 megabytes or kilobytes per second is like a download speed. And you're like, it's going fast. And you'd have the big window of like possible downloads for your MP3s. And you were pumped anytime it got above 4. You remember those days?
Your parents get on the computer and wonder why there's 97,000 viruses. And you go, I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. I did nothing wrong.
I remember we used to have like on the wall, like up here above the computer, when we had dial-up still, and there was like a red light on the receiver, and our neighbors had it too. And anytime you would try to call the neighbors and you couldn't get through because it was busy, you'd walk outside and you would look through the window to see if the red light on the receiver was on to show someone was on the internet. And it drove everybody nuts. And now 30 years later, it's a different story.
Certainly showing our age here. I want to zip through a couple topics and then get to your favorite bet or two. Denver goes from a 13-point favorite on the close against Carolina to now a 9.5-point road dog at Baltimore. Are you more impressed by Baltimore or more disappointed by Carolina so far?
Wow, the disappointment from Carolina has been rampant for me, given some preseason futures, which are long dead by this point. So it's been disappointing. Now, I think when we're talking about the movement and the role change and how different it is, it goes to show how bad Carolina is. They're not quite at 2019 early season Dolphins level. Like the Dolphins were 20-plus point underdogs a couple times, if people remember 5 years ago, early season. But I mean, just like market rating wise, the Panthers are about 11 points worse than an average team right now. So I don't know if they can go lower than this, but that's really what's driving how different these numbers have been. But also the Broncos have had it pretty easy the last couple of weeks too to look better than they are.
Matt LaFleur has been amazing as a dog of 3 points or more. I believe it's 17-4 in the last 21 games. Now that's not the largest sample size in the world, but 21 NFL games is over a full season. Yeah, 17-4 ATS, getting 3 or more. Packers catching right around there at home against the unbeatable Lions, or so it seems, if you've been betting against them the last couple of weeks.
Let's see what happens with Love. Didn't practice today on Wednesday. Curious to see what happens tomorrow and Friday. They have the bye on deck. Do they force him back pre-bye, or do they give him the extra week to repair himself and get back ready for a stretch run that the Packers are going to need? A little bit uncertain. I think the number in the market's a bit uncertain as well. This feels like a mid-hedge type of spot where it's slightly leaning towards Love not playing in the price. What I think we see is if Love is out, this is Lions closer to 4.5. If Love is in, I think we see Lions 1.5.
Oh, wow. Okay. Even lower. Okay.
I do think so, because we saw this as a pick'em when Love was supposed to be in early in the week before the injury. Well, I guess we're going back to last Sunday morning before the game's kicked off. So I don't see it being 3 if Love is in this spot. But the initial adjustment, Sam, if we think back to week 1 and 2, was a little more than 6 points. I don't think we can see the full 6 because we know Willis is a lot better in this offense than we expected. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this. Again, Love is in. I think Lions 1.5. Love is out. I think we see 4.5.
I'm glad you said in this offense. I didn't mean to follow up, but I have to. What does Matt LaFleur do so well at getting the most out of quarterbacks, running backs, receivers? What is it about that system that makes you raise your eyebrows from time to time?
Scheme, prep, play calling. Easy. 3 things. He's always more prepared than the other defense. He has a great early game script, and he is able to adapt and change his play calling to whoever he has under center to tailor it to take on the opponent. We saw 2 very different game plans with Willis in the 2 games he started. He's just one of the best play callers in the NFL. That's it.
I know you can't wait for 471, 472. Again, not going to try and take the screen full because the Dell might explode. But the look ahead was Seattle 3? And now we got Rams 2 at Circa and Superbook in Vegas. A 5-point move from the 11-day number.
It's going to explode. You got Doom 2 running in the background, or what's going on?
Sim City.
Well, we played Sim Farm growing up in Saskatchewan, and the issue is when the pigs ate through the fence and went wild. That was always a late night on the Sim Farm game back in Saskatchewan. You guys here in the big city, you had Sim City. We were a little different up north in Canada. This game, Seahawks Rams, best game of football that we have had this season, pro or college, by a mile. This is going to be awesome to watch. It's going to be the most fun game to watch as just a general fan. This is going to be great because this is a matchup between McVay and McDonald, which has been brewing since the summer. There are a lot of good interviews with McVay going back and forth on how important this matchup is for him. The Rams are back to full strength with Kupp and Nakua back. It's a massive game in the division. The Seahawks made the trade last week for McDonald to get his last chess piece on defense. The secondary is healthy for Seattle. And by the way, the Seahawks could very well get back their two best offensive linemen. That's been a problem all season, trying to protect Geno in the pocket. But I think he's so far to date been the most underrated quarterback of the entire league through 8 weeks. This is going to be a very fun game to watch. I can't wait for it. I'm very curious to see DK Metcalf. Looks like he's going to be able to go on Sunday. If he is in and you get these linemen back for Seattle, Sam, I think right now we're at like 2.5, slowly pushing towards 3. I wouldn't be surprised if all those guys are in if there's some Seattle money late in the week.
Well, I'll bet Seattle no matter what. I mean, shouldn't say no matter what. Anything plus points I would take. I think they should be favored, and we shall see. As for the bets for you, 1, 2, 10, walking bets, what are we doing?
Okay, I'm not going to ask you to pull up the odd screen, and I'm not going to be walking around for this one. What is your ruling right now on the Tennessee Titans price?
Okay, I can see 3.5 even money, 3 minus 20. I'm guessing you're going to lay the 3.5.
Okay, well, there was a little bit of movement here in the last half hour. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say Jets minus 1.5 on Thursday Night Football is a side that I like, and I will play and give out here on the show as bet number 1. And I hope that's a fair ruling as well. Maybe
Yes.
Am I over-exaggerating on that one, or is 1.5 fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so we're going Jets minus 1.5 at home against Houston. This is a spot where the Jets 3 weeks in a row, 5.9 yards per play or better. They are losing games and pretty painful and just painful is the word to describe how they're losing games. I think they're being shortchanged a little bit. This game is going to be talked about as why in the world are the Jets favored? This is wrong team favored. I think how much the Texans offense has struggled recently is going a little bit less discussed than it should be. And now you're taking Diggs out of the equation. I think this is a tough spot for them. And believe it or not, first time for this coaching staff playing on Thursday Night Football since they took over at the start of last year. It's a spot where these staffs typically underperform. The Jets had their best game on Thursday Night Football, and now they're going through it again. That was against the Pats a few weeks ago. So I'll go Jets minus 1.5. And if Titans 3 minus 20 is fair, I would put the Titans in there. I'll let you be the official judge on that one if we have one or two sides on the show here.
I say let's go 3 minus 20. That's totally fair.
If you're giving it to me, I'll go Titans 3 minus 20. Their offense finally showed up last week against the Lions. We saw a great performance from them, and this is a game where the Pats, even if they start May, have a week of disrupted prep, and that defense, which was called up by Mayo, it didn't respond last week against the Jets. I know they won 25-22. That was a very misleading win as they were outgained by 2 yards per play, gave up a ton of yardage as well. The Jets didn't turn it over, but just couldn't find the end zone. And now they're going on the road to take on the Titans, who should get Spears back in this spot as well out of the backfield. I like the Titans here, 3 minus 20. If you're saying it's fair, I'll add that. Titans 3 minus 20, Jets minus 1.5 Thursday Night Football. 2 picks. Let's get them both.
Adam Chernoff, Right Angle Sports. We will let you get back to Sim Farm. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.